The Artificial Podcast Shorts.
So I think we'll just kick it off like I do with a lot of guests that I bring on the show. So tell me, where did your journey begin? What made you realize that you wanted computers and conversational AI, or just AI in general, to be your life's work, given everything that you've been working on so far?
Yeah. Great question. It really started, I started tinkering. I've always been a tinkerer, right? Ever since I was coming up as a little kid, I was always building cool stuff and I'd get enthralled with things. One of the things I got enthralled with was the idea that you can invent any kind of experience or any kind of application in a computer. So I learned to program early on, in high school. And I was fascinated with video games. It started there, right? One of my keen fascinations was something called bots in Quake or Doom. And these bots would be, I know, right? Like these bots would be these players in the game that you would go up against. And it's, I don't know if you know about the arena style first-person shooter, but the bots there really intrigued me. My first application really in this space was an AI to generate levels for the game, right? So a procedural generation of levels. And, so since then I was always tinkering. When I got to college, I discovered this world where you can tinker and invent and society rewards you for it. And that's academic research in the engineering sciences.
Right.
You really pick the problems that really intrigue you, you work on it. And if you do interesting work, you'll publish papers and you'll succeed in that institution, in an academic institution. At the same time, it's a great test bed to incubate concepts and ideas that might matter for the world. And on that journey, all of the research done in the academic institution, in my group, really cared about what's going to matter in 10 years, right? So that's Clarity Lab, cross-layer architectures and runtimes in 10 years. We worked on large-scale problems, and one of the problems upon us was how do we scale the compute infrastructure for the AI demands of the future? We're going to be engaging with AI from now into the future, right? That's the next thing. There was internet, then there was mobile devices with the phone, and now there's AI on the critical path of all of our engagements with computers. And so it started there. And from there, conversational AI piqued my interest as it's the most anthropologically relevant way that we conceive about intelligence in general. Intelligence is always another human that we engage with via conversation. So it's the most natural means and interface for us to engage with intelligence in a computer. And so first you have to really cover a conversational means to access intelligence, and that gives you the entire spectrum of the cognition needed for intelligence. So that piqued my interest. It's clear that's going to be incredibly important from years ago into the future. And so I started working on this chasm I observed in what those experiences are like, and we'll talk about this chasm, and what they could be given the best science known in the research community. And so bridging that gap is where I spent a lot of time. And that is what, created a Clink, right? So the Clink concept was to create the next leap forward, right? Beyond the stagnation that we're observing with, the Alexas or the Google Assists and all that stuff, in terms of what it means for us to engage with intelligence conversationally. And so that's the journey, right?
That is awesome. I love the fact that Clarity Lab was built on the premise that you're looking ahead 10 years into the future.
Right.
Because one thing I've always been a huge proponent of since getting into technology is, yes, it's super cool to focus on the now, right? But if you really want to grab a hold of technology, you really need to look ahead, right? And in fact, I just got back from doing a talk yesterday on a talk that I've been loving to give over the last few years called AI and Into Work as We Know It, that really just dives into what is the future of work and what is the world going to look like over the next 10, 20, 30 years as really most things become automated. And as AI automates almost everything and provides an additional layer of intelligence that we've never had before that will far surpass ours in almost every way possible. What does that look like? So I love that's the focus of your lab at University of Michigan. Hey there, artificial podcasters. Nick Myers here just to say don't forget to smash the subscribe button to stay up to date with all of our latest episodes and new content. You can also listen to full episodes of the Artificial Podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, and Anchor.fm. If you or someone you know is interested in being a guest on the show, visit us on the web at www.theartificialpodcast.com. Thanks for watching, and see you soon.